do this exercise with no band, you're going to have your arms out to the side and start bringing your arms backward like this with your thumbs face up. As you're doing this, you want to keep a very gentle bend in the knees and have your feet about hip distance or shoulder distance apart. So not close together, but apart. And we're going to go for 1 minute with this exercise. Here we go. And if you want, you can use a band by stepping in the middle, or you can use dumbbells for this warm-up. Just rolling your shoulders backward. And as you're doing this, you want to keep your abdominal muscles tight and do your soft bend in the knees. And you want to keep your shoulders back and your head back like this. You don't want to bring your head forward like this, keeping your head back. It's a great way to get your shoulders warm for the exercises we're going to do today. Very important to have strong shoulder muscles for prevention in tennis. Prevention of injuries. So 15 seconds here. And make sure you keep your arms at shoulder level. You don't want to drop your arms down or you'll lose the contraction of those muscles. Keeping your shoulders down, not shrugging up like this. All right, finish the minute. So next exercise we're going to do is standing shoulder flexion. So for this one, you can either do without resistance, where you just bring your arms straight up with your thumbs face up, or you can get into a squat position. If you get into a squat, you want to stick your hips backward and lean your chest forward. You don't want to bring your knees ahead of you like this. So keeping your hips back, and then you just bring your arms down and up like this. Or you can use a band to make it a little bit more difficult. You step on the middle of the band, and then same thing, bringing your arms straight up and back down, making sure you're not shrugging up. You want to keep your shoulders down and back as you do this. And we will go for 1 minute. And alternatively, you can use dumbbells like this. So whatever equipment you would like to use is totally fine. Just make sure you have the right form. And the right form would be, again, making sure that your hips stay back, your knees are directly over your feet, and your chest is inclined forward. Also make sure you're not arching your back like that, because that compresses the bones in your back. So you want to keep a more of a flat back position. And also not shrugging your shoulders up. You want to keep your shoulders down and back. Doing these exercises is so helpful also to help reduce the risk of muscle adhesions forming, like those knots that you would get for needing to have massaged out. So you want to make sure that you're feeling the burn in those muscles so you get blood flow so that you're not having adhesions forming. So next one we're going to do is bringing your arms out to the side. So you can do this without resistance and without bending your knees, or without in a squat position, just slight bend in the knees. Bring your arms out to the side and back down. So that would be the easier version. Harder would be using the band. Thumbs face up, bring your arms out to the side. And even harder would be getting that squat position again and bringing your arms out to the side. And you can also bring your arms higher if you want even more resistance. So we'll get started for 1 minute here. And again, you want to keep your head back. You don't want to be sticking your head forward. And you can make it harder by getting into that squat position, making sure you keep a flat back, not arching at all. Keeping those shoulders down and back, so not hunched forward or shrugged up. So by keeping your shoulders down and back, you're engaging your middle as well as your lower trapezius. Really important muscles to have strong for tennis so that your muscles are balanced, rather than having the muscles up here too strong, which can cause muscle knots. All right, great job with that one. So next one, we're going to do shoulder extensions with the band. So for shoulder extensions, you are stepping on the band. And then you bring your arms overhead with your elbows bent, and then you're going to straighten your arms and bend your arms like this. Alternatively, you can use dumbbells, hands together, and then bring your arms down and up like this. So up to you how you would like to do it, or if those are too difficult, then you can just do without resistance. So we'll go for 1 minute with this exercise. This one's a good one for the backs of your arms. So a lot of times there's an imbalance where the biceps brachii, which are the muscles right here, are too strong and these muscles are too weak. And the triceps brachii, so we're strengthening the triceps brachii right now, the backs of your arms. Remember to keep that soft bend in the knees. You don't want to hyperextend your knees. Soft bend. Abdominal muscles tight. And try to keep your head back as far as you can without shrugging your shoulders. Another 15 seconds here. Should feel the burn in your underarms and the backs of your arms. 5 seconds left. All right, great job. So the next one on the list is the high 90 degree positions. This one's a really good one for the rotator cuff, those 4 muscles in your shoulders, which can sometimes get tears. Oftentimes, I've seen people have like supinated tears. It's one of the 4 rotator cuff tendons. So this exercise is preventative to avoid getting those tears when you're doing high impact sports like tennis. So you make this motion with your forearms. You keep your elbows at shoulder level and just incline your forearms down and back up. And you want to keep a 90-degree angle in your elbows. You don't want to bend your elbows like this or have them too straight. So these are also called scarecrows. So you can do this without resistance, or you can add in the band, stepping on the band in the middle, and then bringing the band up behind you so that the band goes behind your elbows, coming down and back up, or you can use dumbbells like this. So whatever difficulty level you'd like to do, we're going to get started for 1 minute with this exercise. Again, as you're doing this, it's super easy to start shrugging up your shoulders like this. Make sure you're not doing that. You want to keep your shoulders down and back. Soft bend in the knees. Elbows at shoulder level, not drop down. If you feel any sharp pains with this exercise, that probably means that the muscles are not strong enough to complete this exercise. So you want to reduce the resistance by doing without resistance like this. And if you still feel sharp pain, then you can drop down. But try to have dropping down as the last resort, because then you'll lose some of that muscle contraction. But it's better to prevent injury than to try to push through an exercise and create an injury, because that'll put you out from tennis. All right. So next exercise on the list, we have W's with the band, or without the band. So without the band, you make a W shape. So you want your elbows about 45 degrees, shoulders down and back, and then you bring your arms back, squeezing together so that you feel it right in this area, and then forward, and then back, like that. With the band, you would hold on with your palms face forward like that. Bringing the band across your chest, squeezing, holding, with your muscles squeezing together in the back and forward like that. Or if you have dumbbells, again, palms facing forward, bring your arms back and forward like that. So we'll go for 1 minute with that exercise. And remember to not shrug your shoulders up like this. You want to keep your shoulders relaxed, down and back. And also you want to keep your head back like this. You want a soft bend in the knees. And your feet should be about hip distance apart. And you're going at a nice, gentle pace, about 3-second holds. how we're strengthening the middle and lower trapezius. Because everything we do in life is in front of us, driving on our computers, and so this exercise just brings everything back. You might also feel contraction in the front of your neck, and that's a good thing because a lot of times the muscles in the backs of our necks are pretty tight, and that's from leaning the head forward so that these muscles have to work. So by keeping your head back, then you're activating these muscles so that there's more of a balance between your muscles in your front and back of your neck. Okay, so next one is bringing your arms out to the side like this with your palms face up. So palms up like that. Just bringing the band across your chest as far back as you're comfortable with your arms. Squeezing and holding for 3 seconds and then forward. Or of course you do it without resistance. And you want to make sure that your arms stay at shoulder level, so not dropping down. If you feel like you have any sharp pains in here, then that's okay to drop down. But if it's just achy pain, then achy pain is okay to feel. And you want to keep your arms at shoulder level. So, and also with the dumbbell, same thing, palms face up, bringing your arms up to the side, squeezing and holding for 3 seconds and forward. So we'll go for 1 minute. Soft bend the knees again. You want your feet about hip distance apart. Shoulders down and back. Bringing your arms as far back as you're comfortable. And no sharp pain. Sharp pain during exercise is never a good thing. Achy pain, though, is really good because then you know that you're getting little muscle tears in the fibers, which will rebuild again stronger than before. So it's super important to stretch after exercising so that when you create those little muscle tears from exercise, that the fibers don't get all disorganized. So that's why stretching is so important, to flatten those fibers down again so they don't bunch up and create muscle knots and adhesions. Okay. So next on the list is the 90 degree with your elbows and your ribs, bringing your arms out to the side with your palms face up. You can do this again with the band, without the band with your palms face up, or with the dumbbells with your palms face up like this. So up to you how you'd like to do that exercise. We'll go for 1 minute. And for this exercise, you're keeping your elbows in your rib cage. The only thing moving is your forearms. And you should feel squeezing right here in your shoulders as well as in the backs of your shoulders. And again, keeping your head back, not sticking your head forward. Soft bend in the knees, tighten your abdomen, shoulders down and back. And hopefully you feel like your heart rate and your breathing is elevated because then you're getting some cardio as well. Since it's recommended to do 30 minutes 5 times a week of cardio, or 150 minutes a week. And if you feel like you want more resistance, of course you can use harder dumbbells or bring your hands closer together with the band. Okay, so next one. We're going to go on to a little more difficult exercises. These are called inchworms. So for inchworms, not only are you strengthening your shoulder, you're also strengthening your core, your hips, and stretching the backs of your legs, your hamstrings. So I'm going to start on one end of either if you have a mat or a floor, and then you're going to walk your hands down your legs, and then walk your hands out on the mat, so that your hips and your shoulders are on the same level. You want to make sure you're not dropping your hips down because that compresses the lower back, and also you lose that core contraction. So in this position, your lower back is in a neutral position, and your abdominal muscles are tight with your hips at the same level. So you imagine like you have a cup of hot coffee on your back, so that's why you want to make sure your back is flat and not coming down or not up like that. So in this position, And then while keeping your legs straight, you walk your feet in. If you can walk all the way to your hands, that's great, but if you don't have that flexibility, you can come out this way and then just push off your hands to stand up. So the whole motion again, you're walking down, coming out to a plank position with your back flat, walking your feet in, and then walking your hands back up. So if you had an entire gym space, you could do these inchworms all across the floor, but if you just have your room, then of course you could just walk back. So we'll go for 1 minute with these inchworms. I used to coach gymnastics, and we did these all the time in gymnastics. Just walking all across the gym floor. It's a full body exercise. So many muscles get worked with this one. And then also when you come into the plank position, you want to make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders up. You're still keeping your shoulders down and back. All these exercises you should never feel on top of your shoulders. Everything you should feel on the backs of your shoulders or your lower shoulders. And you shouldn't have any pain during this exercise. If you're having pain, then you can modify it so you're not doing as much of the range, or just sit out for this exercise. Alright, great job with the inchworms. I know those aren't easy. So we're going to up the ante a little bit with the difficulty. Next one on the list is walking plank. So for the walking plank, you're going between 2 different forms of plank. So on your hands, again with your hips on the same level as your shoulders, and then you drop down onto your elbows and then back up onto your hands. So just away, down onto your elbows, up on your hands. Like that. You want to kind of switch which side you're doing too, so you're not always doing one side. And then if that's too difficult, you can drop to your knees so that your hands are underneath your shoulders, and then you would come forward so your back is flat, and then backward. Otherwise, if you just drop straight down, then your hips are up in the air and you have a slant in your back. So with your hands directly underneath your shoulders, you come forward down so your back is flat, and then back onto your hands like that. So choose either motion you would like to do, and we'll go for 1 minute, either the modified or the full version. So here's the full version again. Down and up. And switching which hands you're using. Sometimes go down with your right first, sometimes go down with your left first. Good job, guys. This isn't easy. Almost there. Think about all the benefits you're getting in your shoulders, as well as your cardiorespiratory system and your abdominal muscles, your hips. This can help prevent injuries in tennis. Good job. And more strength means more power when you hit that racket. You hit the ball with the racket. All right, I know that one wasn't easy. Great job, guys. Next one is shoulder push-ups. So shoulder push-ups are a little bit different than traditional push-ups because you're just moving your shoulders. You're not doing the full push-up position. So the modified version is on your hands and knees, and then you're pushing up through your shoulders and then squeezing your shoulders together. So pushing yourself away, this is called protraction. And squeezing your shoulders together, it's called retraction of the shoulders. Up and down like this. And if you feel like that's too easy, you can go up to the full plank position and then do shoulder push-ups this way. In the full plank position, you're going to want to make sure that your back is flat so your hips are on the same level as your shoulders. All right, so choose whichever one you would like. We'll go for 1 minute. So when you push away, you're engaging more your pectoral muscles in your chest. And when you squeeze your shoulders together, then you're engaging more your middle and lower trapezius. And of course, you should feel your abdomen engaged as well. And hopefully you're sweating, hopefully you're breathing hard so that your heart and lungs get stronger as well. Make sure you're keeping your arms straight. And also you should not feel any back pain at all or any sharp pain. If you feel sharp pain, then you can drop down onto your hands and knees. Good job. Keep going. Almost there. I know this isn't easy. All right, we've made it. Great job. Okay, so next one is tricep dips. So these you can either do on a chair or you can do on the ground. I feel like the ground is easier because then you don't have to worry about any equipment. It's just you and the floor. And what you'll do is come into a crab position so that your hands are behind your hips and your feet are in front of your hips, and then you'll lift up your hips like this. And your hips don't move. A lot of times I commonly see people kind of move their hips down and up like this for this exercise, but you don't want to do that. You want to keep your hips still. The only thing moving is your elbows, like that. So you have to keep your hips lifted in order to accomplish that motion. All right, we'll get started for a minute. And if you feel any sharp pains in your elbows, then you can just do little tiny dips. Or if that's too painful still, then you can just sit down and kind of bend backward onto your arms like this without lifting your hips. That would be a modified version. Good job. 30 seconds left. Now we're rebalancing all the muscles in the shoulders, working the less commonly used muscles in daily life. Because the triceps, you don't use those muscles too often. You do for tennis, that's why we have to get these muscles strong. But at the computer and with longer, you don't use them as much. You use your biceps a lot. And a lot of injuries are caused from muscle imbalances. That's why we're strengthening these triceps right now. All right. So next one is shoulder taps. So shoulder taps, you can either do it on your hands and knees in a quadruped position, where you bring up your opposite arm, touch the opposite shoulder, so it'll look like this. That would be on the hands and knees position. But if that's too easy, then you come up into the full plank and then tap opposite shoulder while in the plank position like that. So whatever version you would like to do, we're going to go for 1 minute. Or you can do a combination. You can do some on your hands and knees and some in the plank position. You're going to have very strong abs, very strong shoulders after this workout session. And these are recorded, so if you want to repeat this session again so that you get those 30 minutes 5 times a week, that would be good for your cardio, your lung and heart health. Good job. And remember to make sure your hips and your shoulders are on the same level and you're not shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears. And also try to minimize the amount of rocking you're doing. You can do a little bit of rocking, but not moving yourself around a lot. Okay, so next one is plank to downward dog. So about 3-second holds per position. And there's a few ways to do this. So, and also if anyone has hypertension, too much pressure in the arteries or any conditions like that, or heart disease, then this wouldn't be a good exercise for you because you're going to be in the upside down position like that. So that's a lot of stress on the heart. So just if you have any medical conditions like hypertension, then I'd skip this exercise. But otherwise, if you're healthy, it's really good for the heart and for the brain and the blood flow to do this exercise. So what it looks like is get in that plank position, and then you push up into downward dog. So try to get your head between your arms like that for 3 seconds, And then back into the plank position with your hips on the same level as your shoulders. So rocking between these two positions. So that's with your hands face forward. If you want more of a stretch in your forearms, then you turn with your pinkies around that way. So that would look like this. So turning your hands around the other way into plank, and then downward dog. And then you'll feel a stretch in your forearms. But again, if you feel any sharp pain, then that's a signal to not turn your pinkies around, just do the regular way with your hands facing forward. So we'll go for 1 minute. So plank with your hips on the same level as your shoulders, and then into downward dog. If you feel dizzy at all, then I'd take a break. So really good lower back stretch. So we'll stretch out your forearms. You might not be able to get your head between your arms as much if you have your fingers facing your feet, but that's okay because you're at least stretching your forearms here. And we're also stretching the hamstrings. You should feel a stretch in the backs of your legs here. All right. We're almost done, so we're doing a little bit easier exercises to cool down. So next one, you either can do this with no equipment, or you can use the TheraBand, dumbbells, or a towel. We're going to go into the kneeling hip flexor stretch like this. So with your front knee not beyond 90 degrees, so you don't ever want your knee coming in front of your feet like that. You want to make sure you keep a 90-degree angle with your knee, and then if you need more of a stretch, just bring your back leg back more. And at the same time, you have your palms face down, and you're imagining you're bringing out a towel like that. And if you have a towel, then you of course can just use the towel and bring out. And we're going to go for 30 seconds each side. So here we go. And as you're doing this, you want to make sure you're upright. You don't want to be coming forward like that, so you're going to lose some of the stretch in the front of your hip here. Hip flexors tend to get tight because everything we do is usually in a seated position like that, so you're compressing the hip flexors. So by doing the stretch, you're lengthening these hip flexors. The hip flexors pull on the pelvis, which pulls on the back, and you can create lower back pain. Okay, we'll switch sides. So same motion with the towel bringing, but just switching legs. Okay, here we go for 30 seconds. And as you're doing this also, make sure you're not shrugging your shoulders up. You want to keep your shoulders down and back, and your head should be back, not coming forward. And also, you want to make sure you're not excessively arching your back. You want to keep your back in more of a flattened position. It's natural to have a little bit of a curve, but you don't want to have the excessive curve for this. Okay. So we have one more left for us. So we're going to do the overhead tricep stretch. So you can either sit down on your feet or be cross-legged, or if you're in a chair, you just sit in a chair, and then you'll bring one arm over your head and then pull with your other hand, sitting upright like that. And we'll hold for 30 seconds. If you want, you can also sit with your legs outstretched. That will stretch out your hamstrings as well. And also that requires more core engagement. And as you're doing this, make sure your head's not coming forward. You're keeping your head back. It's done. Another 5 seconds left here. Okay, then the other side. So last one we'll do. And you want to, again, make sure you're not feeling any sharp or stabbing pains. You should just feel a gentle pull, no pain. If you feel any sharp or stabbing pains, then just bring your elbow forward more. Otherwise, you can bring it all the way back. Your hand is behind and between your shoulders. All right, we're all done. Great job, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, I'll just be here for a little bit longer to see if you guys have any questions.